You ever get that itch like something big is being swept under the rug? Well, this is one of those times. The story of Tyler Robinson and Charlie Kirk took a sharp turn recently when a judge quietly sealed the search warrants tied to the case. Yep, sealed. What that means, documents, evidence, probable cause descriptions, everything tied to law enforcement's search is locked down, not public, not viewable at least until a court order says otherwise. Now, why does that matter? Because when things are sealed, what's usually being hidden isn't mistakes, it's power, fears, and sometimes truths people don't want in the light. Let's rewind. After the shooting that killed Charlie Kirk, investigators got warrants to search phones, homes, maybe even Tyler's associates. Normally, those get unsealed once investigations proceed. People want to know, was Tyler acting alone? What evidence was collected? Did they find anything that ties him to the scene, footprints, DNA, bullet trajectories? All stuff that helps us understand how and why someone ends up in a courtroom accused of murder. But these warrants, all sealed. Early reports suggest they include phone metadata, possibly messages, maybe videos, that kind of stuff that could show motive or premeditation, but without seeing them, we're left with speculation. Here, where it starts to get interesting. The legal team for Tyler has filed a motion to allow him to appear in court in regular clothes without shackles. They argue that prison garb and restraints prejudice a jury. And part of their argument, if the evidence that's being kept sealed shows enough for the prosecution but the public and jury don't get to see what they're claiming, how fair can this trial really be? On the other side, prosecutors insist that sealing is necessary for the integrity of the investigation, to protect witnesses, ongoing leads, and prevent tampering. That's reasonable to a point. But what happens when the sealing becomes indefinite? When every turn you take to find more info leads you to we can't show you yet, people start to wonder if it's protecting more than just ongoing investigation. Maybe it's protecting reputations. Maybe it's protecting secrets. And that's the thread everybody is starting to pull on. Because among the sealed materials, there are rumored to be communications that contradict earlier statements, things that could weaken the official narrative. If those are real, they change everything. But if they are sealed, how do we know they're true? How do we trust the version of events that is being told? Here's a question for you. What would you believe if the evidence you needed was kept from you? If the story presented in headlines doesn't match what people whisper about behind closed doors, does your belief shift? Because if it does, you're not alone. Thousands online are saying the same thing: show us the warrants, show us the files, prove it. All right, here, where things start to shift from mystery to straight-up chaos. Just when people thought the Tyler Robinson case couldn't get messier, boom, a new eyewitness stepped forward, and everything we thought we knew suddenly got blurry. Now, this witness isn't some random passerby. According to reports, she's a neighbor, someone who lives just across from where the shooting happened. She claims she heard the argument before she ever saw the flashes of gunfire. But what's got everyone talking isn't what she heard, it's who she saw right before things went down. In her words, "I saw two people arguing near the car. Tyler was one of them, but I'm sure the other man was Charlie." Let that sink in for a second, because if that's true, the entire timeline the prosecution built could start to crack. Who was that second man? Why isn't he in any of the official reports? And why did the police dismiss her statement the first time she tried to share it? This part is where viewers and even journalists are starting to piece together their own theories. Some think the witness might have confused what she saw, others say she's being silenced. But here, what gives her claim weight? She described a distinctive jacket that, according to leaked security footage, does appear in a blurry clip captured by a nearby gas station camera. So if there's another man in that footage, who is he? A friend, a setup, someone trying to cover tracks? Tyler's defense team jumped on this like a wildfire, demanding that investigators reopen that portion of the case. They argue that this is proof Tyler wasn't the only one there and that someone else might have been pulling strings all along. But here's the twist that'll really get you thinking. Prosecutors responded fast, almost too fast. Within 48 hours, they dismissed the witness account as inconsistent and unverifiable. No follow-up, no public clarification, and just like that, the video clip vanished from most online sources. Now the internet, on fire with conspiracy theories. Did someone scrub the footage on purpose? Why silence a witness unless there's something to hide? And listen, whether or not you believe the conspiracy angle, you can't deny the timing is suspicious. Every time someone brings new light to this case, that light seems to flicker out before we can even see clearly. It's like every truth comes wrapped in shadows. So now the big question: Was Tyler Robinson really acting alone that night, or has the world been looking at the wrong man all along? Because one thing's certain, if that witness is telling the truth, then this case isn't about guilt anymore. It's about what's being hidden. Just when the witness story began to fade, something unexpected reignited the entire case: a leaked phone record. Yeah, someone from inside the investigation apparently couldn't stay quiet anymore. A series of late-night calls between Tyler Robinson and a number traced to an unidentified burner phone surfaced online, and here, where things start getting really dark. According to reports, those calls happened just hours before Charlie's death. And get this, the last call was placed 15 minutes before the shooting, but here's the kicker: the call wasn't made by Tyler, it was to Tyler. So who was on the other end of that line? That's where speculation has gone wild. Some believe it was the same man seen in that mysterious gas station footage the eyewitness described. Others think it was someone much higher up, a name that never appeared in the investigation because, well, it was never meant to. When investigators were asked about the call logs, they brushed it off, saying the numbers were not relevant to the motive. But how can something that happened minutes before the shooting not be relevant? People online aren't buying it. Forums, Reddit threads, and even small independent channels have been digging deep, connecting dots between Tyler, Charlie, and a quiet network of local figures who seem to benefit from Charlie's silence. Here where it gets eerie. A week before his death, Charlie reportedly told a close friend, "If anything happens to me, check my messages." That single line has become a chilling prophecy because after his death, that phone, gone, wiped clean, no backups, no data, just an empty device that used to hold all the answers. And the autopsy report? It revealed something everyone missed: a faint residue of an unfamiliar substance in Charlie's bloodstream, not enough to kill him but enough to disorient him. Meaning, when he was shot, he might not have even been fully aware of what was happening. Think about that. If Charlie was drugged before he was shot, then this wasn't just a random confrontation. It was planned, it was executed. Someone wanted him silenced, and Tyler might have been the pawn, not the player. People close to Tyler have described him as agitated and paranoid in the days before the shooting. He told a friend he felt watched and set up. That same friend later admitted Tyler had mentioned being pressured to handle something or else his family would pay the price. At this point, it's no longer clear if Tyler Robinson was the monster or the manipulated. Because if these connections hold up, the phone call, the residue, the threats, then the story isn't just about a murder. It's about a cover-up, a chain of command where Tyler might have been the lowest link. When the news broke that Tyler Robinson had finally spoken, the internet went silent for a moment. After months of speculation, whispers, and wild theories, everyone wanted to hear it straight from him. What could he possibly say that would explain all the chaos, the mystery, and the lies surrounding Charlie's death? And when the recording leaked, it wasn't what anyone expected. Tyler's voice was calm, almost too calm. In that short confession, he didn't just talk about what happened that night, he talked about why. He said, "I didn't want to do it. I was told I had no choice. They said if I didn't, they'd go after my little sister." That single line flipped everything upside down. Because for the first time, the world heard the story from the man who pulled the trigger, and it wasn't a story of rage. It was one of fear. He described being lured into a trap, told that Charlie had information that needed to stay buried. Tyler was allegedly promised money, but what he got instead was silence, manipulation, and betrayal. And while he didn't name exactly who gave the order, he mentioned a group higher than the law, people with eyes everywhere. This confession, if real, paints a completely different picture of the crime. Tyler wasn't just a murderer, he was a puppet. Someone else was pulling the strings, someone who made sure the evidence vanished, the witness was silenced, and the story stayed twisted. But here, where things get even darker, not long after that confession surfaced online, the video disappeared. Every copy was taken down, the account that posted it, gone, the person who leaked it, untraceable. And suddenly, Tyler's legal team stopped talking altogether. The official statement released said only this: "Mr. Robinson is under strict protection due to ongoing safety concerns." Protection from who? From the people he exposed or from the truth itself? Since then, investigators have gone quiet, journalists have been threatened, and anyone trying to follow the money trail seems to hit a dead end. Whatever Tyler stumbled into, it wasn't just a crime, it was a system. And that's the terrifying part, because if what he said is true, Charlie's death wasn't random, it was a message. Maybe that's why so many believe the case will never truly close. Not because there's no evidence, but because the evidence points to people we'll never see in a courtroom. So the next time you hear about the Tyler Robinson case, ask yourself, what's the truth worth when telling it could cost your life? Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Tyler was a victim of manipulation, or is this just another calculated lie to save himself? Drop your thoughts below. I read every single comment. And if you want me to break down the next major twist in this case, including what was discovered in the hidden police files, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay tuned. Because this story is far from over.